Abusuya mesamo akwa be Amanyosem dwumadi na agusu a wo hwe fa adu yatentam ha ena mpanyufo asinkonya mpanyufo ne eje omadwe nkyere yewura yawo asani tano we political analyst but ne fapem Amanyosem no eye CPP we Nkrumah chese no ni CPP mu de he was once a deputy general secretary of CPP became an acting secretary and he is no more with CPP but we Nkrumah or believe in Nkrumah's ideology and we fiduemo Sanso and a citizen at that's the Church of Opinion and the Emma Great Consolidated Popular Party. Almost so my ideology, no, it's almost same as Kwame Nkrumah domestication. Domestication. Kwame Nkrumah was propagating, advocating for domestication. You know, say into me, and then Penyufone no much to for Mama Makwaba.
Yeah, so
and the assignment is very simple. I'm giving you 20 minutes uninterrupted. Tell us, catch me, any the viewers are informed. A day on him for Sergeant for the Kwame Nkrumah. I was saying, and if you are senior her for you now, at Tinine.
Yeah, but I say, I'm if I could answer the mention. I more her, after 4 we hours. So, now, say, this country, as we find it now, they're bred as a result of Bonia. I would ask the next administration under John Dramani Mahama, Excellency, it is my plea to him. When he comes back to lead this nation in 2025, I want to share one national day to mourn Kwame Nkrumah, to have a memorial, a serious memorial service, National Day of Memorial Service. Now, I feel so no, you use this occasion to pacify Kwame Nkrumah. So, sabi, na nchie kura na yebetwa na yede agu Ghana sase so. Na yede apa Kwame Nkrumah ne sunsum echew. Any other spirit and as a sunsum yankopon ede wo mudi Ghana man so a. Gidi say oman ni buo no ebeko yama sa president a obetumi ayesa ade. Without that, we have a very, very long way to go. I have read quite extensively about Kwame Nkrumah. Now, sepa ubi awaji fahudi ya magana. Reasons. Tunafia konyaso. Ya banish ye twanasu. Ayama nensi habim. So we krano say nyane mame, nyane ba. And we insist say Seku Tuare of Guinea or Panicho. Omani hu ne banemu ansa no so wu. Yes, a body member. But let me remind viewers and to say a champion akunyo obedi no. Now it was meant to bring Kwame Nkrumah back. The obekaya am say so work history ni mu around 13th January 1972 thereabouts. Kutu a champion betra kunwana so. And osoma Nkrumah neba painino Francis Nkrumah almost immediately. So onko hwe na omunya arrangement na kan yemfa Nkrumah mbra.
Tabe no
Dabi no April.
Okay.
Arokoye no Amanyosem de by and say Nkrumah's condition was bad. And that from what the doctors had told him no. Onyadi or best survive beyond that year. And truly it happened, said Nkrumah Wuye. Otherwise, a champion's regime was to bring Kwame Nkrumah back. That is the more reason why a champion told the line of Nkrumah. Developmental projects are not Nkrumah or Yinina or Betua do no aso. But you see, Nkrumah in his vision, he said, he has a Ghana for you, being a baby editor. Into what shall say housing project on fund to form. Into what you can see 17,732 housing units across the country, excluding the 1,000 units of Tema Community 1 to 10. I know you are quantity. I know what the bomb now about 30 something 32,000 units. And we see across the country, almost every region at the time, there were 6 regions. Then factories, what about P? Let me remind you of this. We must know, that particular book here, New Ghana, right? Published by Yuroko Kubako, ne papa, and Oye Information Minister then. Now, it tells you how Nkrumah had a vision for this country and how he wanted to go about development. Indeed, Ringway na yehu hosa no. A free police headquarters eba between GBC and media by. Bedu circle. There were supposed to be 2 big stadia, left and right, before you hit is it Lido or so. 2 big stadia. Anka make us international standard state. When you say Nkrumah na nani ewo bom pa in his quest to unite Africa. Into no the football, any art and in a music industry, film. Into so called TV3 and TV3 na Ghana films at the time now. You will see the infrastructure at the time in Nkrumah Bresso as a see acronym. They don't need to do even major expansion. He built world international standard studios. I want to say a home just a stone throw to the Flagstaff House.
And a Flagstaff House.
Yes. Until Nkrumah could just walk to studios. New film, Baba Sa I should say, are we promoting the cause of Africa? But yeah, in this particular chartered document, in some woman and young some ketua. Now, all factories need be so. I'm coming back to Nkrumah, but before that, let me digress. Almost a document here, Debbie Nkrumah say a Japadia document. We share the diabolics in it as against the last 7-year development plan of Kwame Nkrumah. Na dreams or the beye Ghana ye. Na moment we mono, which is being executed by this current administration. It beats my imagination. This 7-year development plan, or just about 1.5, not less than 1.5 years. And now again, this is the book coming from the NPP. This is the only book so far I know they have published, right? Ukomwa, it is hollow than the word hollow itself. Nothing, no developmental agenda biya I sombo. It's about definitions and a bluff what and a what's abu. Compare their book, this one, so voluminous, to that of John Mahama's administration, Mills Mahama, and the infrastructure base listed in this book, which are not just say photos, they are cogent development that John Mahama and Mills embarked upon. You can't beat the infrastructure that has been, put in this thing, which they executed to its letter. Now, if you go to the John Mahama Mills administration, the Jobs and Prosperity for All 2020 manifesto, now they compare a diabolic document seeking to thwart all the effort of previous administration, especially that of Nkrumah and John Mills Mahama administration and Misata, a boom agreement. But now, let's come back to the basics. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah will remain the first, the last, and the only African leader in the whole world, or let me say the African continent. America, any another country, and as another continent, now they had nobody to invite to come and mediate between that war between America and Vietnam than Kwame Nkrumah. It has never happened before on the African continent, and it will never happen that America, superpower, or Konentokwa, an African leader said, "Brother, mediate." What clout do you have? I must also say, China was removed from the Security Council of the UN. It was the effort of Kwame Nkrumah that brought China back onto the Security Council. What Nkrumah told them was that, look, You, America, your population is under, at the time, around less than 300 million. China had hit almost 1.5 million, a billion at the time. So the trade between you and China and China's trade volumes, you cannot compare it to that of Taiwan to retain Taiwan on the UN Security Council. So rather, Nkrumah advocated for China to come back to the UN Security Council to become one of the veto powers. The trade between China and America now, Ghana, minute. Right? Now, we must also remember that Kwame Nkrumah was the most powerful president in the whole of the world. Not Africa. Nkrumah was the most powerful president, feared by anybody. The nuclear reactor, atomic, was given to Kwame Nkrumah free from the USSR.
Russia?
Yes. Is it Kalashnikov or whatever? I've forgotten. The reactor no eche Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana.
Reactor creating.
Idea what the better studies in food, medicine, space, everything that has to do with whether you want to go to power, energy, right?
Anything that has to do with science.
Ninyana. You were a cable and wireless. You were wireless. Would you say I didn't hear this? I didn't want to woman. Indeed, Nkrumah in his 7-year development plan, there were programs are not able dealing with science. Until he stated in the book, say, every baby in the womb must be counted during the census, because those who are going to join the workforce in the next 15 years are already born. Therefore, we cannot wait in ensuring that we put in place the necessary infrastructure to meet their demands. He was talking about employment. Until he was just planting factories, irrigation. You rightly mentioned. We see 2 sugar factories in this country. We see, a friend said, irrigation facilities, a whole lot. The northern region was supposed to be the basket of food for this country and for export and everything. And don't forget, even under Achampo, when Achampo decided to continue the works of Nkrumah, he went for loan and tasked the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, his father, A.E. Mahama, to ensure, said, that we will have rice and maize field. So Mahama's father, His Excellency, started the Mensiri rice field, maize field. And Osansha Botanga rice and maize field, Nasi. Irrigated. We were planting 4 times in a season. And throughout these 4 times, Ghana was able to produce enough cereal to the point, say, Burkina, Mali, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, they were all buying cereals from the north. At the time, right? Talk about rail. Nkrumah betwa de na gorgeous beg mo ayato ho in terms of rail betwa, so make sure say rail system was going to ensure safe transportation for all of us. In fact, he had started something that was called the Blue Train. The Blue Train was going to be a system like the Yehuno Germany, say electrified ones, yeah, and then Nkrumah in they move at with time, no. And Nkrumah within the few period now was not, and can by this time be anywhere and can Ghana able to. In fact, a friend is saying, Christine Churchill, any other Soviet officials, during their vacation, they came to Ghana to play golf. At their leisure time, they came to Ghana. In fact, Ghana was a safe haven for almost everybody. And here is the problem I have with the UP tradition, and especially the Nadu Dankwa Kufuado's family. J.B. Dankwa was behind all the machinations that happened with regards to the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah. Ono, Buzia, Ene, Sa, Nkrumah 6 now, Kotoka, Free Fane, Deku Halimo, Aumetu, Nkrumah Abano. They were the ones who had actually schooled in UK. And so they were writing the letters, to seek for funding to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah. Indeed, just like another Dankwa Akufo-Addo no opposition, Mukofa mercenaries, said they didn't trust in the security system of this country and that they wanted to train their own people to man their ballot boxes. You know. It is the same thing Buzia, Dankwa, and Nkrumah. They brought in mercenaries and they were based at the Togo border, between Togo and Benin. That was when they were planning everything together with Olympium. When Ghana, Nkrumah called for the first African Union, Organization of African Union in Ghana, no? The idea was that we should unite or else we fall into trouble that we have never seen before. He was referring to neocolonialism, which we have today. So Nkrumah wrote a book about it in 1964. That is neocolonialism, the last stage of imperialism. And that is exactly what is happening. Indeed, at the time, no, even the Americans and the Brits, they didn't understand what is meant by neocolonialism. They needed more explanation. And so when they got to know the plans of Nkrumah in terms of uniting Africa as a whole, no, then they started. I must also let viewers know, sir, Nkrumah is not just the founder of Ghana. Nkrumah can literally be told, and I said technically he is the founder of Africa, because he stated, and we all know the famous quote, that the Ghana's independence was meaningless unless it was linked to the total liberation of Africa. And indeed, what did he mean? When we got independent, he brought in some of the African freedom fighters to train them here in Ghana, gave them ammunitions from Ghana. These ammunitions were getting some from Russia. We were getting some from other, socialist countries. So in Cuba and co. Mm-hmm. So Nkrumah really trained, and within that period, the independence state of the Africans were just happening like that. Bam, bam, bam. Within a year, we could have about 2-3 getting independence. Right? So the idea was to unite. So Nkrumah said that, okay, I will not wait. What we need to do is that the independent state must start now to unite, so that those who will get it will come and join. The vote to get us united was lost by just 2 Francophone countries. This thing was from Nyerere and Ofuobuayi. They were the people who abstained for some reasons. Ama Africa unification, Amaso. And can never know yet here, you better say Africa, you're united. Right? But what happened? The next meeting, Nkrumah had gone round to convince all these people that, look, we need to have our own currency. We need to do A, B, C, D to get ourselves out of imperialism and neocolonialism. So when he had told the various African countries to convince them, the next meeting was after his return from Hanoi. But you see, the inability of Africa to unite came from Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's family. His father, J.B. Dankwa, the so-called Buzia, all those cronies. They are the people who sabotaged, took monies. In fact, Britain paid J.B. Dankwa and co. 13 million pounds at the time to execute. They tried severally. They couldn't get Nkrumah. That is why the accolade Nkrumah never dies. At the time, we must also remember that the so-called parties now Ebano, the Ashantis wanted their own federation. They wanted to be alone because Omuklemi said they were the largest growers of cocoa. Indeed, they would not allow their cocoa to be used in servicing the rest of the country. Then the Gold Coast was the coastal belt. This is what they wanted. The northern people should also take themselves. It was Nkrumah who came to bring everybody together. I said, no, we can't go by this tangent. You may feel a small country like this, you want to, at the time, no, now Togoland and Kayamu. It means Ghana Krana is sharp. Until Nkrumah di yen na bo mu yiye no, our co visit Asantemem no, and I premped the first. Okay, say Bemam Osajefu. That is where that name Osajefu came about, right? Nana Addo has defaced Kwame Nkrumah to its litmost point. But it is impossible. There's nowhere across the globe, or even Africa, who said they have named a runabout after J.B. Dankwa. It won't happen. No, Buzi or whatever. No. Go to most of the African countries. More than 55% or let's say 70%. Krobia or maybe who say be an university and I say hall be and a Kwame Nkrumah state you. In fact, he is honored more on the other African countries than in Ghana. The statues, Tanzania were hot in Nkrumah Hall. Big one. He has museums everywhere. He is being studied across the globe. The US have studied Nkrumah since, and they are still studying him. The Brits are also studying Kwame Nkrumah. It is only in Ghana that you ship books until they don't want the youth to know the history about what happened. But this is it. Say I'm pacify Kwame Nkrumah. What I heard some few months ago, of which I've seen something with evidence, say or refurbish Kwame Nkrumah mausoleum. He doesn't know what he's doing. If he's attempting to bring anybody, the resistance will be great. Let Nanado know. Look, he is not, especially Nanado, supposed to touch that edifice. Sincerely speaking, bringing Kwame Nkrumah's body from Nkrumah in the first place was a non-starter. Right? Your prayer did not be to eha. Who are you himself penasem? You want to eulogize Dankwa more than Kwame Nkrumah, which Obia Kenchino said, there's no way you can cover the name Kwame Nkrumah. The whole world is known. Indeed, whenever Kwame Nkrumah touched the tarmac of US, their president, everybody, they were in a hurry. Obia also no. Everybody feared Kwame Nkrumah because his vision was such that they couldn't comprehend. So the CIA gave a whole report, a series of reports, different types of them about how he thought or how he was thinking. A visionary leader with that type of 100 years thought before his peers. They themselves, they were wondering. Into Kwame Nkrumah, the British were even scared of him. Other than that, where would they scheme to get rid of him? Kwame Nkrumah was going to use agriculture to liberate this country. Said hotels are whole. There's a Meridian Hotel. So what you doing there?
Yeah.
You see, it's in rooms. But Meridian Hotel, when you enter, there's a tunnel under the Meridian Hotel all the way to the shore. I can't to me from. Yes. Right? Just for any reason that somebody has to escape. There's a tunnel under Meridian Hotel all the way to the sea. And then, Kwame Nkrumah laid underground drains, heavy ones. So I was a Asalam down in all those areas. And then, Nina, Emosi. Right? Kwame Nkrumah's vision for Ghana and Africa was that which was supposed to make the African continent the superpower. We have everything. In fact, one of his serious visions was to ensure, say, a dam Congo Basin, so, which was going to supply energy to the whole of Africa. The whole of Africa. Then they thwarted that effort. Don't forget, Akosombo Dam, if Nkrumah didn't build it, nobody would have done it. Again, when he had finished, even when Akosombo was about finishing, he was commissioned. He had also started the Akosombo Dam was commissioned on the 21st of January 1966. Then Nkrumah traveled the next month, 24th of February 1966, and he never came back to Ghana. I say yeah.
21st.
21st and yes, and the same exactly a month. Yeah. And the coup happened on the 24th. Okay. Exactly 1 month he left this country after what saw Akosombo Canal. What was the vision for the Akosombo? First, to give us energy for industrialization. Second, to use it for irrigation to ensure, say, baby, small dams and also irrigate the plains to ensure, say, before say so 3 days before Bekono, now was signed agreement with I think India. Said they were going to irrigate the Accra plains. a vast place to give us rice. And then Accra place, Adane, it has been encroached. You see that wet area now. Nkrumah ampam Fulani for body deliberately he built ranches across the country, especially in the north. Into obi biara ode nantwie befi Mali, Burkina ne sa no manaba no. Abane de 10%. Into wo de fa wo nantwie no bra no medidi. Into wo ba nantwie so mbeba before so mbekọ no mo awupi. Into 10%, because Nkrumah was feared, respected, they did exactly what the nation requested of the herdsmen. Into the ranches gave Ghana a lot of cattle, which belonged to the state.
Okay.
That is how come he built the Pualugu meat factory, and then there was another meat factory. And then down here at Perez Dome was the meat marketing board in Accra. In fact, just by the close of the 80s, Perez Dome, they were still selling meat. Right? And young about transportation. In Nkrumah's vision, he started to alleviate the plight of the people regarding transportation. Into our unfair companies, and has or measure private cars. We started assembling buses to ease transportation. The assemble buses veer into a smaller car. All these things were being done. Yeah, Bedford mo. Perez Dome no, ufri wa. Omo share one no. Willowbrook. Willowbrook na hona na share some of the buses. Ufri Willowbrook na why intend to abele pay ho. E hona na SCC, State Construction Company. And indeed, Nkrumah had planned that every month we were supposed to produce 200,000 units. Into now, you see prefabricated concrete factory. Into now, you concrete, no, you fabricated that. Into the hot is a bookie. And say you bridge, you will see a near the finish cost 1 year. Sabe pepe. Into we see that now within 1 hour we see a down base at 3. That factories nina kojoto. North industrial area. Warehouses are whole, factories are whole, silos are whole. The silos was to ensure say your best store food, your best store cocoa. When you visit those silos across the country, North industrial, that's North Kandeshiho, Tema, and other areas, Takra Demono, there is water under the silo, all of them. They served as a cooling system, a technology beer. Now, Ebema, Adriana, yes, Tono, and say, no number. They came back and they destroyed. And the first thing they did, like you mentioned, when they didn't let him return, they gave away free the nuclear to America. Indeed, Ghana would have been the first African country to have entered space. That was Nkrumah's vision. Ghana would have been the first country to ensure, say, food security was 100%. Right? Ghana would have been the first person to ensure say, medicine in terms of vaccine 100%. And now we are going back to the basis. After a year, sign contract nuclear energy. Because at the time, now America, I knew Ghana. Say, Ghana was the first to have gotten a female pilot or landing on the tarmac of your friend say USA. They were shocked. Under the condition the plane even landed, they were shocked. Under Kwame Nkrumah, Afienya, there was how do you call it? Aviation school. That aviation school, at the time, the evidence are there. We're producing our own prototype planes in Kitinkiti. Nkrumah went with the student, they tried them, almost to say at the time they were trying. Even as we speak, when we go to some of the hangars in Afienya, we have some of the planes that were manufactured here in Ghana. Sitting there. Right? How did they boy a bro? Now factories no so see you know, and yes factories no I say you we can revamp them. Glass factory, a tire factory, everything that should have seen to our stardomness was curtailed.
I know say I have a lot to say, but a brain tea. Let's have our citizen. Kwame Nkrumah.
Hundo. Let me cheer. Munia. Yeah, na yeshe yache. Now you know what? We're trying to remember where when the last time we met. And we realized the Ache. Probably 2012 or probably.
Foreign political.
Anyway, let's come to the issue. I'm not surprised the angles he has taken because, like, them very easy in introducing. He actually came from the CPP background, and every time you meet him, you could tell he's passionate about Osajo Funiyama Waye, the role that he has played and the vision that he had for this country. As a young Ghanaian, everywhere I've traveled in the world, Nkrumah. That is how people recognize you as a Ghanaian. Until recently, that people will mention footballers' names. The name that everybody knows is Kwame Nkrumah. And you ask yourself there, you ended by saying, is this country worth dying for? Yeah. I don't want to go to the emotional part of it, but I want us to situate it in a context of amambun. Say ye buman na say ya hwenye mebiye ya ye wie ye kono. The story that must be told, or that will be told, and try na ye thinking. Inti minim what must be done, because Kwame Nkrumah, as we know, he wrote the books. Unfortunately, in the time, the technology was not like this. Some of the things probably could have still existed.
Online.
Yes. Into online cloud and but I hope that with now we are able to tell whether the stories that we are hearing, some of them are true or untrue. I didn't make them in the meme one school of thought that says that okay, it kind of recently Kufuor out, or Mampeyin Kufuor out, but Kwame Nkrumah rush in building factories was not good for Ghana. I don't know whether you remember that story.
I heard it.
And some of it was from the fact that, well, Ghana, where did Ghana start from? Ghana started with no inflation. I mean, we're under 1%. In fact, from what I'm reading, as at somewhere 1960s, it was zero inflation. We had foreign reserves. I mean surplus. Our GDP was in a surplus and all that. So back there, the ground was fertile for any government to probably start. However, say compare, and those school of people from those school of thoughts, what's I mean there? So obviously, Kwame Nkrumah had it total because everything was okay. So why not? When you say you are doing all these things, it was doable. Why not? But says it compare in the Yanamambuna. Nashem Amampeyina Waba and what they had and what they have used it for and how they have enriched themselves personally, then you see the difference. Because we sometimes talk about Rwanda and talk about Paul Kagame and talk about the fact that he's feared. In Rwanda, you can't do it. You understand? And that was similar to the kind of environment that we had. Many workers feared. Kwame Nkrumah was feared. It was because there are certain things you cannot do. Ghana became one-party state. You understand? Ghana became a one-party state. So there were things that you could clearly not do. And obviously, then it means that Omanpenyin had the power and the drive. In them Brimpa, multi-party democracy in Ghana, we realize the powers that the president has. So you can imagine where you have one-party state. So you had the full vim and power to do whatever you want to do. But even that time, look at how strong people were opposed him. I'm trying to let us think about something. As a country, sometimes the way we oppose government programs. We run the person down, he leaves power, and then we now try to sing his praises. This ayetaha yet will be praises. Manana yehu de sana yeme bi wo nkoye ya. Inte mi de bia meka de nyemoro kodo wo Ghana han ehu. Eyi yempeyimfo asawa awore sewon no wondwom na Ghana fo yar to amo. Yara na ya to ndwom amo ho ma wo ye mo wo ye. We will talk about Kwame Nkrumah, but when you were doing your editorial, you showed pictures of people who went into the street to jubilate.
Yeah.
Our friend is Asabonsam, one friend the tyrant. So it tells you that sometimes it's not just about we politicians, but the kind of citizens that we are being. Because if the citizens, the people you are leading, do not have the same vision, I will pay you as they will draw you back. Because we should not be just be talking about Kwame Nkrumah without taking the necessary lessons and drawing the necessary lessons for us to move forward as a country today. Yan partisan politics na sisayen. We do pempendubia. Instead of helping us to grow as a country, it is drawing us back. Always. Pull him down. Ghana yize. Obri ya moriyen no obri twinise. Na nka oya ne den na obi a mo so onye ma banish no another country gen wanje ne kakempo do ometna asylum, but they take him and they say come and rule with us. How possible? But in the yebi Ghana, we are doing the same thing in Ghana here today. When I read Rosa, yanko tamamoto we yanko hwe. In them bri wonto, kwana ware yen one way na kwana tutu
voter regime so do ha kwana omo nwie. One side of my way no mo see for how nyina titi.
So you say that I don't know whether or there minim but you see yimpa yeguma hro obia na za yankopon was a share, and you could tell that if the vision after Kwame Nkrumah died in 1972 Kwame Nkrumah based in there, some of the things that he said are still as relevant as today.
And tomorrow, in future.
Then why are we reinventing the wheel as a country? Why are we wasting time to reinvent the wheel? Because in Kaya were the templates. It is saying na ye money ye na ye we really want development for this country. We don't need to waste time as a people to reinvent the wheel. The template is there. Let us pick the template. And that is the way we should go. But unfortunately, since I have a pesament kunya politics, it is a oba benima or pede de bioje children's one bonizin because Yama Yerbe, yes, a Kwame Nkrumah no ye. Into Musuma ye no one can anado no ye. Musumi ye no one can Mahama no ye. Me no one can Kufo no ye. And our Tamas no ye. Debbie. I always say none of these people use their own pocket money to rule this country. Because country no is called woman for Ghana. We should be looking at Ghana projects. But because everybody is trying to do their own things. 40-year development plan about to about watching. Also, also 20 years. Or we also 20 years or what? In 10 years. 10 years no so say no so on cash in. So as a country, we don't even know our next 4 years agenda. Where are we going? Then come and pay do na watch for the next 4 years. This is my vision for Ghana. But then we talk about yebe. So we do promises and ad hoc things to solve entrenched problems of this country. As a country, in the agri sector, this is where we want to go to as a country. In terms of our road networks, this is where we want to go to. In terms of our rails, this is where, because I should say most of the rails are all here it will get up to nothing because there is no plan with it. You know, my dream one, there, I there Ghana you're so in Sikagukwa because a kawa yerbo, busa yerbo no, we are doing projects that will not be able to reap any effort over to ya.
We just want to fulfill manifesto promises.
Yeah. There, one district, one factory. You listed a plethora of factories in Nkrumah establishing. Inti yaba on American blueprint in the. So if we really say we are doing, this is the way to go. I mean, and even if now we say we want to do PPP, the template is there. Just go back to it. Just go back to those places. Let's see how we can revamp it. But either you create everything for no one kade, you know what they do. Na ya no so aye dem so yenja. Unto aye ye twinye mebi mudodo. Na yi mai no ye na ebotu ya do those intibade. No kwesi yemfa. No ye no otu ya do no kwesi yemfa. In the end, we all want Ghana to develop. And that is why personally I always say that from 1992 the kind of constitution the agenda we have set for ourselves, that every 4 years, or there are elections, after 8 years, or there was and all those things. And me personally, I have a problem with it. I have a huge problem with it. Because Kwame Nkrumah, if 9 years reign on I mean it was less because Sebi Obe Prime Minister, Obe independence. Finally Obe the head of state. It was from 1960. Yeah. From 1960 to 1966. 66 when we you understand? So I mean I wouldn't say he had a full 9 years.
Yeah, because
you understand? It's a better 8 years. It's 8 years. Go for 8 years. 8 years. OD. Then can I come Nkrumah so 8 years? And like you listed, the achievements. I mean, the things that he has done. Apart from Yamo to me, the vision that he left, because some of the things that he did, on a year for back. Project. All these things are the things that we shaping to the right path. It's in Kaya Beno, or I didn't such a yama, but I had a vindictiveness. We
are trying to change history.
So people are trying to fidget with certain things. Some of them I don't want to go back to it because the more you talk about it, it looks like yes, they are succeeding. Sabe, unfortunately for them, Kwame Nkrumah's history is set in stone. The reason being that Yatahana and Yan Kwame Nkrumah Nasamano, equal other countries. Kwame Nkrumah history is a whole, there is a curriculum on Kwame Nkrumah. There is a whole course on Kwame Nkrumah. And I don't understand why we can't even use the name Kwame Nkrumah to get money for Ghana. Because it's huge. Just the name is huge potential for us to benefit a lot from it. But I blame almost all succeeding governments. Because single out one government from 1992 especially, and I think he talked about it at some point in time, Israel, Red and Lati. Are you Kwame Nkrumah Yejuma? I mean, Kwame Nkrumah, the one who made Danlate who he became. Because in the book, Danlate set up a printing press. Nkrumah ne books, stationaries for schools, supply, Red and Lati got chunk of it and he was doing it. So he got chunk of it from Kwame Nkrumah. So he benefited. And you could see there, when it's in a vision, during a champion time, that was when the operation feed yourself, obey. Or the change the amount, the kind of domestication, and if GCPP, it was meant to cover up the CPP that was banned now. Now one per day, CPP beverages and bio. So it was meant to say that, I mean, on your CPP.
Alternative.
Aha, for them to come in. That was the plan. The name GCPP will be the great CPP.
So if we say Nipana wa Tunabago a dictator, Nasa was we a democratic, that why do you ban his political party?
You see, you could tell the issue was not about the political party, it was about how Nkrumah has become powerful. So and if you don't destroy, you see how Nkrumah spread the tentacles in terms of the CPP. How the UGCC was just in about three regions. Was in fact Sopon, Kumasi, and then I think Takrady or something. Yes.
Mainly in the Western region, because that grant was from there.
Yes.
And that's where it was centered.
It was, but when Nkrumah came, Otume spread it all over Ghana. You understand? It became that, hey, padi no yatru. Yanshene yembubuna mpera. Sometimes you need yembubuna mpera.
Oji eni munyam.
Aha, yanshene yembubuna mpera. Obese yama. Let's make sure that yembubuna mpera. And that was the attempt.
Okay.
But maybe I am so disappointed that after the liberation was given, CPP Bob Bese Embassy one, we are still struggling with CPP today. And CPP seems to still go down.
In fighting.
I have a huge problem.
Secretary who do press conference, I'm a dismissed chairperson. Chairperson who do press conference.
I have a problem. I have a problem. Say, how CPP is disintegrating now. CPP used to have, until recently, they have about 4 members of parliament to sign.
It is not disintegrating, it has disintegrated.
Okay. At Mami Kambe say there 53 messages. But your 20 minutes to go. The busia for Mami just me rush it through with 10 minutes, near 10 minutes to wrap it up. Move fanche me.
10 minutes indoors.
Okay. We say want to good evening. The MPP hate Kwame Nkrumah and money to overthrow his government, making sure that even future generations forget about him. But look at today, Nkrumah reigns supreme even after his death, whilst his enemies, the MPP pioneers, have been forgotten. Yenuya Moses Kaswa, hi Sami, or say please let's use this platform to praise Mohammed Kudus for uplifting our country's Ghana, and we are proud of him. And that's it. Sami Nanado is rewriting the history of Ghana. Silvanus Ashamano de Efri Abba. Proper Badukobi and as Prophet Badukobi, don't forget that you are the same prophet who said England was. The MTN is the cause of some negativity in the SIM registration. I bought, okay, and then Nkrumah. If the EC can allow some people in voter region or region to vote presidential election and Kwame Nkrumah. If the MPP say they don't have any positive thinker, and that's why they have always sent Kafui. Watching your editorial on top makes me hate myself for ignorance of voting for those two wicked political parties, MPP and NDC. Just check the enormous achievement of his 9-year governance. What a great leader, Osaje for Kwame Nkrumah. God bless his humble soul. Ejawusu Edifri. Good evening, Sami, and your panel. Say, Sami, whether they like it or not, whether they like it or they don't like it, Kwame Nkrumah is the founder of Ghana. Yenya Agotema Johnson or de Abba. Good evening, Sami. Long time. This is Erica Elom from Kukumlimle. Say, Sami, people are real and some people are good. Some people are fake and some people are real. Good at being fake. Good night. Good evening, Sami. Good evening, Hunter. I need clarification. So, Nkrumah did all this within 9 years. Akufo-Addo, Mahama, etc. should be spanked severely. I'm Ralph Nadiaba. Good evening, Mr. Sami. Amugis from Ashie. Or say, is Ejako listening? Illiterate man saying rubbish about Nkrumah. We say, Sami, good evening, please. Please, I want to know when they are blocking the SIM. Ready? They block Crawford the other. As it goes say, Ghana should open their eyes how this government and Kufuor regime had collapsed our greetings. NPP, shame and shame. Ohineba Laboni. Good evening, the captain of the drillship. I am very surprised to hear some people praising their grandparents, uncles for not doing anything for Ghana. But look at what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah did and show what he stood for. Can these people show us what their grandparents, fathers and uncles did? Linia Emmanuel, Adenta Sakura, no de Abba. People that have to say they are real are never real. You cannot be real if you have to keep saying it. Linia, and the difficult community. Keep enlightening the country with your truth. Keep it up. Emmanuel, the Fradenta Sakura. Or say a fake person will make a mistake, and a fake person will make a mistake and act like it never happened. A real person will make a mistake, admit and apologize, regardless of the outcome. Ernest Kwoku Awunyama Edifukoto Babi. No de Abba. Or say Sami, you know, Nanado always watch this show, but in Nkrumah things you are doing tonight, his TV is off. Ike from Kumasi de Abba. It's a good evening, Sami. The question I have always asked myself after reading few books about Sergeant for Kwame Nkrumah, his good works, his achievement, and later the CIA induced overthrow of his government, is why should we as Ghanaians continue to celebrate that overthrow of his government? That cruel military person Kutuka by naming the Accra International Airport Ejawusu and SABC way. Sami, good evening. Sami, good. My kind 3 minutes so, and then we read it through. Sure, I'll give it time. Sami, good evening to you and the panel. Say they tried to kill him even before his time, many years after he died. Yenuya Francis Fradenta no deaba. Bra Sami, Kwame Nkrumah has done this lot to us, and then they overthrow him. Ghanaians are wicked. Agotima Johnson or the other. Thank you, sir. You are doing a great job, but may I ask, is Nkrumah build my cow message be? Good evening, Sami. I'm so very sad this evening after listening to your editorial. Some people are very heartless, and no wonder Nanado is continuing from where they ended. God, Enya Adams, will say, I'm Jehovah from Old Asherman Pure Water, Sami. Now you see how some of our leaders have been visionless, especially in the incompetence MPP and DC core. Okay, I'm into video. So on top, upon all the good things Kwame Nkrumah did for Ghana, including projecting Ghana's image high across the globe, this is how wicked the ancestors of MPP have paid him back. Please adjust the speaker of the main. Okay, yeah, that's trying to do attention. Sami, you are the best in Ghana. You know your job very well. These are the best people of today's show. thanks be to God that you didn't call the MPP people Ike from Nkrumah Day Aba. Mr. Tano, you have been missed. You have been missed. You have been missed in our shows. Thank you. I say, God, you are thank God you are back. Back the best night show. Ike crying anyway at the Abre. I said, this question got me crying and thinking, is Ghana worth dying for? They ignore him, rejected him, and even killed him before his time. Those he died for banned him from his society he built. This government has tried everything possible to erase him completely from the history of Ghana. Yenuya, integrity. Come on. Kojo Atanyako or say once more, you have simplified, educated, and opened my eyes to history like I have never had before. Thanks so much. Now I know who are the ones that want the betterment of this, our dear nation, and those who only hear and have always been there to steal, here to steal and destroy. I'm so sad. We wish you good evening, Same. Afrani Electrical Park also Estate say, I don't know why successive government upon government have sadly neglected the legacies of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and for nothing at all. Common sense must teach any government after Nkrumah to invest in the numerous factories he created, in factories to create jobs and export purposes. We should today about Akufo-Addo government has retired the progress of this country and is going to take us a lot of hard work and effort to redeem the image of this great nation again in the future. Very sad country we live in today. Positive change Medina Rande Abba. Good evening, bro. Blood is indeed thicker than water. Like father, like son. Evil people, all their aim is to denigrate Nkrumah's image, but they lie. Nkrumah never dies. Nkrumah was a good man. I remember him very well. He was my best friend in heaven. Okay, I was here for the message in India. And I told me, but I'm fan. Here I started tunnel. You have 13 more minutes to go. You have 5.
Shall I start topic anyway? Yeah. 2 things happened in Ghana and under Nkrumah. It will never happen again in the rest of the life of the world. One, my boss Wachro said he is the only African president. America, any omanfo for nyantokwa, na ya friend say ono no omra emefa somdwemra ho. 2, Nkrumah remains the only president on the surface of the earth or in the universe. He was he was a president in 2 countries. Ghana and Guinea, because your friend is year 2 no. And yes, year 2 abane yi ni fi ho. Ya the coup d'etat na yi ni fi ho.
President Nelson Jenison Guinea for reject.
Dabi. Now interestingly no. Time was secretary ya announcement no. Na Nkrumah on French papa. Right? Until one take I see the following the publications nearby. What did you say yesterday? That I am a co-president? I said, yes, that is why the people were happy. Nkrumah did not initially understand what Sekou said. Say Obabe president. Guinea. In fact, it was presidency, but he turned it down. So and then took a co-president. So Nkrumah was a president in 2 states. It has never happened anywhere in the world and in the universe. But my main to BB. Obi opese osuya about Nkrumah. Osuya NPP, you will never like them in your lifetime. Until go and Google the speech on the 13th of on the 11th of March 1964. Nkrumah's speech on the 7-year development plan. Assembly, that is parliament. Now, I don't know make there's this thing here that I chief need to. So that will be and can say be a under housing. Was say housing 2, that is the forward. Was say housing 2 is one of our main preoccupation. We are at this moment in the last stages of formulating large-scale housing projects, which we hope to have ready soon. A factory for prefabricated concrete units is now under construction and will come into production sometime this year. This was in 1964. When these plans are completed, we shall be able to put up low-cost housing to meet the needs of our working people at a rate of about 200 houses a month. Could you believe, Sir Sanka, you see 200 houses a month?
It means 200 houses. I feel you see 2,400 houses.
Yes. And can we do this? The best cost I rented at that cost. Ubi also a metro so concrete machine in a train. And Nkrumah ya wo a friend saying tire retrading center. So wo tire no ehonria na wo de akọ na omo sande ngoma fufura fa ho. And na abroche tire na ahwe no omo sande ngoma fufura fa.
Especially cargo cars.
Exactly. Now say who read this idea na me catch na Google na read ya. Me see quote na ho it will shock you. Eba idum so everything was taken care of. Sir, we intend that the state should retain control of the strategic branches of the economy, including public utilities, raw materials and heavy industry. The state will also participate in light and consumer goods industries, which the rate of a return on capital should be highest. But the big problem is or care about tax, abolition of tax. Now some more can say, and when he say, you pay a juma kodu baby Nkrumah, they won't pay a juma. All the enterprises that has been created, there must be competent people, trained managers. A juma making sure say by the time a company no profit no, now you reduce taxes to the point where we will completely abolish taxes in this country. Everything was planned out here. BBAO, agriculture. Now in this document, when you read industry and agriculture, it is mentioned more than 500 times. Industry, agriculture, industry, agriculture. And almost say they are confused as to whether Nkrumah, how many years not Nkrumah ruled this country, sir, were your president for only 6 years. Into all the development you see, no, they were all within 6 years. The other period, no, from 1951, Ababesi Tameya independent, head of government business. So head of government business, no. To Prime Minister no, and no still no na English abroad Queen na wawu and rechi ye on no na o can say project we nko so asa na be koso nti na projects are na koso under those projects no me fa say Nkrumah no a foreman project abroad ni be design say yenye no and na Nkrumah wo hwe so but the Nkrumah nkasa de na dwimu po ye within time a yenya independent ye be ye sovereign 1st July 1960, and another be year fi hono. 1st July 1962, a died to me. And only a Mara Kwame Nkrumah wonya ne ho say, on one kasa as a president to me take decision executive. Into Kwame Nkrumah actually ruled this country technically for 6 years, and Nkrumah papa, and no woman a year hono.
5 years.
5 years, some
5 years, 2 months.
And no woman you know within that period. But the rest he was just there supervising the a project we na yenye jombe approve no and now be right into this is a man who came and within that shortest possible time we can say look I will ensure say we will have one man one car one man one house and it was his promise and he was living by it and fofi and water. Now when you read this document you will not have any more, in fact you would not even want to hear another's name. Because a family, that is why we are suffering. The bloodline of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the problem of this country, with he as a head of state or the president. Because baby ote yeno, ne wo famu ebua ye ma ye kamoja guho. Nkofo ye kun omo Flagstaff House na nya guho. Today you are sitting in that same blood. Nti no me until so we pacify the spirit of this country. And the most dangerous thing. And the 6th July 1961, what be independent, sovereign.
Yeah, Republic Day. No?
And known is the spirit of Ghana. ɛna Ghana de nya no ho sɛ sɛ ade mo aso mo aware nti mo ankasa mo nto mo play sa ade na wayi afi ho de abɛyɛ so called constitutional day no Ghana for unfortunately me so mitimi ye bebre papa than another danko
okay
because it is the spirit of Ghana
citizen yeah wrap it up
Hunto, you see when we and I will keep saying this that when we keep on saying things like this I don't blame anybody but I blame ourselves because who has brought us this far? When I'm not the Bible do baby and yedri. Because yeah, and we all know what Nkrumah had done. The minority, the few people, waiting to conquer all this. Masisia, we are having issues like this. These people were in the minority. Why is the problem? And that's why I keep saying there. You see, all these things has been possible because of you and I, our attitude. Say yan sisa, na yan sora. Our reshanya yamaru kodobona yerka na yaoye. Some people just insult when we are talking about the issues that are not going well. Some people too are sitting on the fence and feeling that they don't want to be part. Wabre NDC and MPP, so they don't want to be part. I mean, it can't be. I mean, now it can't be. Na yamaro komoroko Ghana. Because if we are retelling our history as a country, say, answer na uncorrect in da, ochina obi baba na wapapa da ya chwo ni na, and there is nothing to say, and we move from there. Inti many I can say yes, man. And I don't want to be on make there. It looks like your work or either it's a pain.
Yeah,
you understand. But
now me sure say Kwame Nkrumah days I would do after he's overthrown. Ebia is not published yet, but yeah, what would do and maybe say something that tends to be a case on this country.
Boss, me pacho. What you said, and I do two coin. Or no so about me to me. Could you imagine Sanka or ye? Yeah, ye cool. And yes, you're tunica cool. You say, a man in Sigana beam. Never again did he come to come.
Yeah.
So you can imagine. Anyway, I'll message you in there. You know, young song. Then, Bebuna, your war of money. Now, my yen dark.
Okay.
Nayan, now, the year high because maybe a year high. We need to really take part in whatever happens.
Okay.
And
that's Abusia said, I say Nkrumah never dies. Into Kwame Nkrumah won't know about Cosemano, Yabeko and Comotuchi, and then the next Comotuchi, Kwame Nkrumah. That's so you made a free non base Abandu Bakwabo. You and Mamma send a message by me and come on punch me and an editorial and time no because now we dedicated them also for the Kwame Nkrumah. And once I'm so I do some penny for Montoya Moncaira, our sanitary political analyst, Yera, citizen at 2000, church of opening the Great Consolidated Popular Party, GCPP. We did this among Honto as like a same comma, MCR, control room, technical team, and I'm once papa, my dedication, no baby. Good night, yes, Gustama, and that's what I did share.